Hi everybody, welcome to DAYZ, and this is on the PlayStation 4, and this is a call for help. This video goes out to anybody in my Discord, in the modding DAYZ servers channel, or in my private servers. And what I've been working on over the last few days are some XML mods for Nitrado private servers for the Churnerus map on DAYZ, and these should work on PlayStation and Xbox, that adjust the game in not really extreme ways, and the idea is that I'll release these XML files with an instruction set on how to use them, so that server admins who perhaps haven't got the time to, or don't want to get involved with or getting in the nitty gritty of changing values, or who may be struggling with a bit, can just upload these XML files to their servers, and they'll have a slightly different version of DAYZ. Now I've called this mod pack Vanilla Plus because it makes some changes, but it doesn't make any extreme changes. So basically what I need is I need people to play test this server, and probably to check some of the XML files as well. So in the description down below, you've got to kind of be watching this on YouTube to see them. I'll put links to the XML files so you can have a look at them, and you know, try them out yourself if you like on your servers. Also, if you go into the community tab on PlayStation 4 and search for Scalespeeder, look for the 1T Scalespeeder gaming private server, and the password is zombie, and just get in there and just run around. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you the kind of the change log that I've introduced for this particular server, so you can know what you should be looking out for. Now remember, this is PVE, don't shoot anybody. Anybody who's on there is there to test it as well. And then, so what I'd like people to do is people to run around, play the game. If you see anything unusual in the behaviour of the game, you know, tell me in the comments down below, or tell me on the Discord, preferably with screenshots. So let's go into the changelog first, so I can tell you what I've changed, so that you can have an idea what you should be looking at. Now, first off, though, a quick warning. Obviously, I make no warranty, implied or otherwise, about whether these changes to the XML files will work. They may well crash your DAYZ server if you run them. I've tested them for a limited amount on the PlayStation, on Churnerus. I haven't tested them on the Xbox or PC, so use them at your own risk. But I've been pretty careful. I've been as careful as I can do going through and editing these files. And I'd also recommend, if you want to install these on your own server, what you want to do is you want to do a complete wipe, a complete reinstall, and install them, so you get everything happening. So what have I done? So the first thing is that the chances of items spawning in damaged has been greatly decreased. Basically, every item that spawns in on the map shouldn't have damage to it. Should either be pristine or worn, I think. So if you can look out for that. If you see anything that's spawning in and it's damaged or ruined, please let me know. I've increased the helicopter crash sites from 3 to 6, and also I've added the C-130 cargo plane as an option for one of those crash sites. So if you manage to get up into the northwest sort of part of the map, have a look out for crash sites. Have a look specifically for the C-130 to see if it spawns in. With the cars, the off-road hatchback, the 4x4 Ada, spawns in complete, or it should spawn in complete. All colour variations should spawn in complete, and they should have a gasoline can in the trunk, a jerry can in the trunk. So you'll still need to, you know, pour that fuel into the vehicle, go and find some water and put water in the radiator. But you don't need oil anymore, do you, for cars? Then you should be able to drive it away. So it should be all the 4x4s. I haven't touched any of the others, because again, the big part of doing these adjustments is you don't want to do stuff that will break the server. And so if you have all cars spawning in, all fixed, then you're going to start putting strain on the server. I've doubled the potential bear spawns from 2 to 4, so look out for bear attacks, and I've increased the potential wolf pack spawns from 6 to 10. So again, if you're out in the woods, you know, look out for those and tell me when you come across that. Now for some more of the fun stuff, so the assault rifles, so the AK-101, the AK-74, or whatever they're called in the game, they have different names, don't they? In fact, I think they're called AK-47 is for real, isn't it? But it's called AK-74. The AK-74U, and the M4A1, I've doubled the spawn types of those assault rifles, and they're only counted when they're on the map. So if people pick them up or put them in barrels or bury them, they shouldn't. More should spawn in, and I've also increased the magazines for these guns and the ammo for these guns accordingly as well. I haven't changed where they spawn. Okay, so things like the M4 is still, I think is it tier 4 or tier 3 weapon, so it's going to be like in military bases and in harder places. To kind of counterbalance this, the CZ61 Scorpion SMG with the magazines and the IJ70 and the FX45 pistols and the magazines that go with those, I've disabled them from spawning. So the idea is we've added a load of assault rifles, so I've taken away the pistols and the Scorpion. Now, the really rare guns, the LAR or the FAL, the VSS and the VSD or the SVD, I've doubled the spawn rates for those rare guns and the magazines and ammos to go with them. And also they're now only counted when they're on the map. However, they're still high tier weapons, so I think you'll only really find them on helicopter crash sites, the C-130 crash site, and maybe really northwest, maybe around the airfield, maybe in Tizzy, maybe, I'm not dead sure whether they spawn around there, but there are more of them. Now, as far as quality of life goes, I've increased canteen and water bottle spawns by about a third. Compasses and nail spawns by about a third, duct tape spawns by about a third, and various food and drink by a third. Not all of them, just a selection, because again we don't want to overload the central loot economy. And the really fun stuff, I guess, that people want is I've gone in and all the coloured variants of the AKs assault rifles and the M4 assault rifles should now spawn in, but they are. Some of them are rare, some of them aren't, and the coloured and camo and camouflage Mosin should spawn in. Now they should be a little bit easier to find, especially the camo Mosin. That should be a little bit easier to find, but there aren't that many of them. And I've gone in and I've adjusted the quantities and I've adjusted the type and the usage, so they should be good to spawn in. So there we go. If you wouldn't mind, give it a play if you've got a spare half hour. Really interested in those weapon spawns, whether you find coloured weapon spawns, and what you feel as well. You know, does it feel that little bit easier perhaps because you found more food more readily available? Also, if you see things like no animals have spawned in. I mean, there's been hens and zombies here, but maybe you go along and things stop spawning. Let me know too, because that's what happens when the loot economy becomes overwhelmed because there's too much stuff. Stuff just stops spawning, and zombies stop spawning on all that sort of stuff. But anyway, I'll stop rabbiting on. So again, just on PlayStation 4, go to the community browser, search for Scalespeeder is the easiest way to do it, and look for the 1T for one testing Scalespeeder gaming server. There's only 10 slots, but I don't imagine it'll get overwhelmed. The password is zombie, but no capitals, just smaller cases. And as I say, go in, give it a test. There may well be numerous restarts throughout the time that it's live. There may even be wipes as well. If I notice something going on, I may wipe the server and reinstall it, so you'll kind of start again. And there we go. Any feedback, put them in the YouTube comments or put them in the Discord. And thank you very much in advance for everybody helping. And as soon as we kind of figure out that this is actually stable and probably is working, I guess one of the triggering factors for me will be probably if we find the C-130 working, and if we find a 4x4 Ada with all the bits on it and a jerry can trunk in the in the trunk, that will be like, right, okay, this seems to be working pretty well. I've set the server to restart every 6 hours to kind of keep the memory usage in check, and that's about it really. Anyway, that's it from me. Thanks in advance. Obviously, if you've enjoyed this, hit like. If you want to see more of the same, press subscribe, and I'll see you again soon.